Hello and welcome to our first candidate forum, mayoral candidate forum for our municipal elections coming August 25th. We are delighted to have the Spanish Fort mayoral candidate with us tonight as we have prepared some questions for them to answer for us to get to know them. A couple of things that I wanted to make everybody aware of. Our municipal election guides are out and they can be found on our website, www.eschamber.com. And there's a direct link to each of the election guides there. So you can find that. And then please feel free to share and post those amongst your friends and family. Thursday, August 6th, we will have our Daphne mayoral candidate forum right here at 6 o'clock, Facebook Live again, as well as Tuesday, August 11th, we will be hosting the mayoral candidates for the city of Fairhope. So we hope that you will join us for that as well. Also, during these three broadcasts, WABF 1480 AM radio will be also airing these. So if you choose to not be on our Facebook for the live event, you can always listen to it on the AM radio. And then just a side note, the Eastern Shore Chamber of Commerce does not endorse any specific candidate, but we do strive to educate voters on where candidates stand on issues facing the local business community. So one final thing, again, the municipal elections takes place August 25th. And on election day, please share your vote sticker pictures with us using the hashtag Baldwin County Votes. So at this point, we will go ahead and get started. Welcome again. And I am delighted to introduce Dr. Melinda Bird Murphy, who is the chairman of the Eastern Shore Chamber of Commerce Governmental Affairs Committee and is with Coastal Alabama Community College. And we are delighted to have her tonight as our moderator. So Dr. Murphy, I'm sending it to you.
Thank you, Christina, so much. Thank you all for coming out tonight and participating in this live Facebook event for our forum. Again, we've sort of talked about how this is a unusual time for us, but we're going to make it work and get the voters and the citizens of Spanish Fort a chance to get to know you guys a little bit better in this environment. For us to kind of kick off tonight, let's just sort of hear a little bit more about you. We're going to give you each 3 minutes to sort of have an opening statement that you can sort of introduce yourself, tell us a little bit more about you. Christina's already gone over with you the time, so she's keeping up with the time, but if we would, and we're just going to do this alphabetically for lack of any more creative way. So Mr. Batley, we will start with you on that.
I have something popping up. Pardon me. Good evening. I'm Jeffrey Batley. Most folks call me Jeff. I am a resident of Spanish Fort ever since 1965. My life has been spent here with my parents, George and Marguerite Batley, who settled here in '62. We watched the community turn into a rather good-sized city, not Mobile, mind you. However, we may be one day. As we have evolved in our community over the time period of 26 years since the incorporation, we've moved from what was a tight-knit community where we knew everyone on our street. And well, that's what happens when people and things grow. Look at Mobile. I couldn't tell you who's on University Boulevard, okay? But I did when I was in college, okay? nonetheless, um, I went to the Baldwin County School System. I was a graduate of Fairhope High School. I've spent most of my life in sales management, business management. On the technical side, I have been as my father used to refer to, as a wire twister in the telecommunications industry. So I am a troubleshooter. When I see a problem, I'm out to fix it. And sometimes you start from one end, sometimes you start from the other, or right in the middle until you find what that actual problem is. And so this is a new venture for me, but I'm excited about it. And knowing that, well, we get in place, we find out, is it this end? Is it that end? But since we've incorporated, we've had a lot of business come into town, and it's great. I mean, we're rocking and rolling, I'm telling you. However, over time, I have seen where we've almost outgrown ourselves on the western side, down towards the causeway side, the Mobile end. And we're at a point where retail, we're in a real rut. Look at the Eastern Shore Center and the Spanish Fort Town Center, for instance. Two places I've spent a great deal of time investigating, and they are both at the capacity of approximately 21 units that are empty. Now, that being said, Spanish Fort, its primary income is revenue. It's revenue. And
Mr.
if
Bradley, thank you so much. Your time on that has ended, but we'll have closing statements at the end. All right, alphabetically, Ms. Cornelius, I believe that's you.
Hi, I'm Becky Cornelius, and I'm running for candidacy of mayor. My husband and I moved over here 18 years ago, and I'm a native of Mobile. My husband, Pat Cornelius, he worked for the city of Spanish Fork for 9 years until his passing in 2016. We are proud parents of 2 sons, Patrick and Hayes. When we moved to Spanish Fort in 2002, we fell in love with the small town feeling. To raise our children and become active members of our community. I am a member of Christ the King Church, and I've enjoyed volunteering my time with Spanish Fort, with the Spanish Fort First Night Christmas reading and the Delta Woods and Water Expo. I was honored in 2016 to be the Grand Marshal of Spanish Fort Christmas Parade. My experience is that I am a loyal employee of Consolidated Sea Products for 21 years. I have served as office manager and comptroller. I graduated from McGill-Tulane High School and the University of Alabama with a BA in communication and a minor in marketing. Spanish Fort has had a substantial growth over the years, and it needs new leadership. My goal is to advocate for responsible growth while continuing to keep the family-friendly community ideals that were important to me alive. I plan on having regular communication, listening to all the citizens and their input on how we can improve the city of Spanish Fort and help serve this place better. I ask for your consideration to vote for me to be your next mayor. While I'm in office, my top priorities would be public safety, to make sure that we have the appropriate funding for the safety of the citizens of Spanish Fort with the police and fire department, which is utmost to have for the protection of our citizens during this time. I would have a strong bond with the Baldwin County East Economic Alliance, along with the Eastern Shore Chamber of Commerce, so that we can improve businesses and bring businesses to Spanish Fort. Town Center and the Eastern Shore Mall is real estate empty. And I would hope to improve that situation. I'm not a politician. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this, but I would like to be given the opportunity to serve the citizens of Spanish Fort because I believe in Spanish Fort and what it has, the great resources it has to offer. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Cornelius. Mr. McMillan?
Hello, I'm Mike McMillan, and I'm running for mayor. First of all, I want to thank the Eastern Shore Chamber for putting on this event. It is very important for our constituents to know all of the candidates, so an educated decision can be made. What do they stand for? What are their plans for the betterment of our city? How do they plan to accomplish these goals? Are these goals realistic? Do they know and understand the different elements of doing the job? How will they handle the pressures of the job? Do they have the time and devotion to do the job? Do they have the commitment to do the job? These are questions that need to be answered tonight. Our city has lived within our means. We don't spend money we don't have. We have been very fiscally conservative, as proven by balanced budgets and a reserve for times such as these that we are going through. Our income at this point is down because of the pandemic, but under the watchful eye of this administration, we have reduced our expenditures to offset the revenue declines. I am the only candidate that has proven to meet all of these criteria, that has a sensible plan to handle growth, improve our quality of life, and manage the merger with our volunteer fire department, that understands the three elements of government, which is health, safety, and welfare of all within our city. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. McMillan. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. So we have crafted just a set of questions we'd like to share with you and sort of get your sense of these issues that we're going to be talking about facing Spanish Fort. And if you would, for question one, I think the order we're going to go in and answer for question one, we are going to rotate who answers first, second, and third, so on. We're going to start question one with Mr. McMillan, followed by Mr. Batley, and then Ms. Cornelius, you'll answer third for question one. So here is our first question to the candidates this evening. How does the city of Spanish Fort plan to pay for the improvements needed based on the Causeway Master Plan?
Well, that's a really good question. You know, that master plan, it encompasses sidewalks, fishing piers, ecotourism areas. And I invite everyone to please look at that plan. It is online at the city. To answer the first part of that question, we actually have received our first grant to start the process. We received a $2.5 million grant to build a park right there at the old Hudson Oil site, if you know where I'm speaking of, which is by the old Ardros before it burnt down. So the way you achieve the Causeway Master Plan is through grants, it's through funding, through the agencies, Forever Wild, state agencies, those kind of things that you have to reach out to. The city of Spanish Fort can't afford a $24.7 million project along the Causeway, and we can't do that with an annual budget of $12 million, all right, realistically. So the way you achieve that is through grants, and we have received our first grant, and we've received the assurances of ALDOT. They will be looking at improvements on the Causeway that will lend itself to the project.
Thank you. Mr. Batley?
With the hopes I am being heard. The problems that we are discussing is the infrastructure of the two shopping facilities was the question.
No, sir. So for the first question, we're asking specifically about the Causeway Master Plan and
Right.
funding for that.
The funding for that. Well, that is the one that is featured on the city website, and a lot of that the mayor discussed. I did not find that particular part where Argyros was, but I did see the bicycling and the fishing areas and so forth, and the crossovers and what we would have to do to make it all come together. However, with the state having such a big hand, as well as dealing with the federal government, who, well, they have a couple of times made issue of wanting to take over the Delta, which I'm not in particular, that's not my bailiwick. I would just assume we keep it. It's our lands around here. It's part of the character of Spanish Fort. Now, how to go and finance it is fixing our tax problems here in Spanish Fort. And we heavily invested and relied on these town centers. And well, with those being empty and our major revenue being the taxes, as I was speaking of earlier, we need a plan to turn that around. That would also give us money to take care of what's happening on the causeway. That is not a.
Thank you, Mr. Batley.
You.
Your time is up for that. All right.
Hello.
Sorry, you may be having some technical difficulties, so I didn't know if you heard the question, but we're asking, like, how does the city of Spanish Fort plan to pay for the improvements that are indicated in the Causeway Master Plan?
The grants and other programs that would sponsor getting money for the park would be a wonderful asset to the Delta. The Delta has a tremendous asset, is a tremendous asset to Spanish Fort. And anything that we can do to bring citizens to Spanish Fort or any other people to the beautiful area here would be beneficial. And I would work with the city and ALDOT to make that work.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, we're going to move on to question 2. And for question 2, Ms. Cornelius, you'll actually answer first. Mr.
Okay.
Batley, again, second, and Mr. McMillan, you'll go third for this particular question. All right, so question 2 deals specifically, you've all mentioned it already, the budget. So how do you adjust the budget when your city has had a shrinking tax base due to stores closing or delayed reopening retail because of COVID-19?
COVID-19 has really hurt everybody in America and the world. But bringing in, trying to organize both with the Eastern Shore Mall, with the Eastern Shore Chamber of Commerce, plus Spanish Fort, and all the cities around the Eastern Shore, we could all benefit by bringing people coming over here to promote the businesses that we have here and enjoy reap the benefits from the taxes that are spent here. There are plenty of empty spaces in the town center and in the malls, but if we try to work together to have some kind of event to try to bring in people into the city, it would help all residents and citizens around here. So that's what I would do, is try to bring in people through special events, trying to promote small businesses and businesses that are already existing in Spanish Fort.
Thank you so much. Mr. Batley?
How about that? Thank you. The main reasons that I have considered running for mayor of Spanish Fort is citizens have seen a disturbing trend in our city, and that would be with, well, where are we shopping? Well, a lot of us are heading for big box stores, and well, ours are closing out. Now, COVID-19 is a reality, and I have a mask over there. And I'm away from everybody else, would say. We don't know what's going to happen with that. We're not scientists, we're not doctors. One of you, Dr. Murph, I'm sorry. Anyway, as far as what is coming of that, the answer is going to be in improving our revenue. And I'm going to think out of the box here just for a second. And this is not going to be something folks are going to enjoy to hear. But how about taking our western edge of Spanish Fort, which would be the Spanish Fort Town Center, seeing as though we're not getting retail in it, let's fill that with multi-family dwellings, apartments, in other words, high scale ones that are built with nice amenities, and selling these units or renting them out, whatever the developer may choose in the ultimate plan, working with our smart growth team, as well as those who are in the know and have the money to back it. We'll build something that will bring more folks in, and what will follow the people will be right there, the inhabitants.
Thank you so much, Mr. Batley. Mr. McMillan?
Apparently, I didn't quite understand it because I heard different answers. Okay.
Yeah, so I'll repeat the question for you. How do you adjust the budget when your city has had a shrinking tax base due to stores closing or delayed reopening due to COVID-19?
You know, we have adjusted. We actually, in this last budget cycle, did adjust our budgets because we were afraid of where things were going. We are on our sales tax revenues for the city was 6.9% down for the year, but yet again, our expenses are down 15% for the year. So we still got a balancing thing. You know, I'm an optimist. Okay, I believe in the town center. I believe the Eastern Shore Center. Economics will drive that. Do I feel that multifamily housing in those areas is right? No, I think we've got more than enough multifamily housing in our city. I believe that economics will drive it. Good things will happen within those areas. And I want to remind everybody that the city is not on the hook for any of the finances involved in either center. But I also will tell you that both centers are a profit center for the city in sales tax revenues. So they are good for the city. Are there openings? Yes. Do we see people coming in? Yes. Look at the Fusakis, the briquettes, the Freddy's, all those things are coming in. So I feel good about where we are. And as the economy improves, those centers will fill up.
Thank you so much, Mr. McMillan. All right, so for our third question, we'll answer in this order. Mr. Batley, you will go first for this one, followed by Mr. McMillan, and then Ms. Cornelius, okay? So if you would, so for this question, with the recent price hikes on water and sewer services, do you envision the city becoming involved with its utilities, or is a private provider preferred?
Well, as we grow, we're going to find that the infrastructure for sewage and water is going to be on increase. And as it stands now, I understand there are a couple of different vendors. We have Spanish Fort Water for our potable water. And then you've got the sewage, and we're dealing with that through DAF Utilities. And the eastern part makes a drop through Baldwin County sewer system. However, it actually goes second step into Daphne Utilities. And at some point or another, Daphne Utilities will be in a position where they cannot handle it. I think we should be scouting out property within our city limits to go and build our own wastewater treatment. Daphne has had a accident where it has leaked into the bays and into our delta, which goodness, we don't want that at all. It has shut down fishing at times and swimming. But yes, we should look at building in the future our own passageway for wastewater.
Thank you. Mr. McMillan? I think you're on mute.
I'm on, am I better now? Okay, thank you. You know, I'm gonna approach this probably a different way. Okay, I believe in small government. I do not believe that we should increase government services. I believe the private sector can do it better than what the government sector can do. That's how we keep our city small. Believe it or not, in the city of Spanish Fork, we have 54 employees. You look at our surrounding serious cities, Daphne has over 350, Fairhope has over 300. All right. I believe in small government. I believe the private sector can do it better than we can. So with those things in mind, I firmly believe we should not get utilities business. I think that others can do a better job, do it more economically than what the city can do it.
Thank you. Ms. Cornelius? Mute.
I believe franchising and having a private enterprise take care of our sewer and water is the most efficient way of handling that situation. Spanish Fort is too small to take on that kind of risk and concept. And so therefore, I think it would be best for the interest of the citizens of Spanish Fort to keep it as it is. Thank you.
No, thank you so much. All right. Question 4. We will ask and we will answer in the order of Mr. McMillan, Mr. Batley, and Ms. Cornelius. Okay. So for question 4, Spanish Fort has broached annexation several times now. With growth happening and a need for additional revenue, do you support annexation and why? And secondly, do you see annexation happening?
I see down the road the squaring up of our borders. One of the biggest hurdles we have in our city, and with police, services, everything involved, or we have neighborhoods that are split between the city and the county. For example, Spanish Fort Estates, everything on the north end is in the county. All right, our police get a call. We don't know whether to go, not to go, but it is our policy that our police will go. So it's very important. Annexations will happen to square up our borders. It will be through a referendum. It would not be through land grabs. Annexations are not a profit center for a city, believe it or not. When you annex, it's a cost to the city. It is not something that brings revenues to the city through tax ad valorem, particularly because Spanish Fort's ad valorem are so low. We're at 5 mil versus our surrounding cities having 15 mils. So annexations is not the way to make a profit. It's not the way to improve budget situations, but it is the way to make the community come together, because let's face it, we all live here. We all go to church together. We all go to school together. We all part of the Spanish Fork community, yet some are in the city and some are not. And I think long term, it is best to bring that through a referendum through annexations.
Thank you.
Well, I'd have to wholeheartedly agree with the mayor there. Annexation is an expensive proposition, especially if you're looking at annexing a community that has not developed and they're still, say, sitting there with a septic system and a well. Now, we do have technical ways around the other creature comforts in life. However, going and pulling in something, say, like Daphne was to us back in the early 90s, we're already tied in pretty much. So it was a really easy move. And I agree that from the previous question, from what the mayor said, no, we're in a perfect position to not be in any of those industries and utilities, because we're getting our electricity out of Foley and gas out of Fairhope, and we're sitting fine and pretty. My concern was, is Daphne going to be able to grow and handle it? And if they don't, that's why we would have done that. Go and pursue what if, not actually do it. I see a yellow one. All right. But as far as annexation, unless it is something that is wanted by people adjacent to us, squaring us up, as the term was used, sounds great, because there is confusion with the fire and police and who's to respond to what area. Thank you.
So much, Mr. Batley. Ms. Cornelius?
At this point in time, I don't think we should annex anything any more than what we have right now. Let's take care of the growth that we have as it is, and let's take care of the citizens. If the police department and fire department are taking care of the individuals in the county, especially in Spanish Border states, that's wonderful. But I think that right now we need to take care of what we have, and in the future, possibly have a referendum to see whether or not people want to come in here. But at this point in time, I think we need just to keep things just as they are.
Thank you so
Thank
much. Yes, thank you guys. So for our last question, okay, Ms. Cornelius, you'll go first for this one.
Okay.
Followed by Mr. Batley and Mr. McMillan, you'll finish out this before we do our closing statements for the night. All right, so last question for you guys. It is our understanding that the new 3 meals tax increase is focusing on arts and science program development, which is absolutely viable. However, with the governor's strong start, strong finish workforce prepared initiative that's in K-12, do you see any way to add some of that funding to support workforce initiatives in order to prepare our young people with work-ready skills?
Workforce development is essential for the development of Spanish Fort in any and every student that goes to Spanish Fort schools. It is viable for the future of the students to have the work skills so that they can make a livelihood when they leave school. Not everybody is good for college education. There are some that are, but workforce is needed, and I'll be happy to assist the city leaders, business leaders, and teachers and students so that we can have with workforce development in the schools. Not everybody is meant to go to college, and it's something that needs to be taken care of so that they can make a livelihood when they leave school.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I wholeheartedly agree that the 3 mil property tax being used in the form scientific, arts, crafts, industrial. Robertsdale is the closest center I'm aware of for high school students. And back in my earlier years, they used to have electronics. And now I understand they're adding avionics down in the south part of the county as a opportunity to work with our avionics over in Mobile and our marine industry. That is a grand idea in this day and age, because there are more and more people who either can't afford to go to college, or they just do not have the thought processes to concentrate on all of the worldly types that one gets when they get a full 4-year degree in something. So if they were to specialize in being a pipe fitter or a TV repairman, which that is a bad example in this day and age, we throw away our televisions that are disposable. Yes. But I would agree that is the very best thing, is to put us a vocational educational school up in this part of the county, other than the one that's already in Bay Minette. I forget about our other neighbors. Forgive me.
Thank you. Mr. McMillan?
Yes, first of all, I want to say I'm very, very proud of our community supporting these 3 mills. It is such an important piece to our city for long-term stability, for long-term opportunities for all of our citizens. It will make the city grow financially. By that, I'm speaking of your home values will go up. People will move to. We've always been known for great schools, but this will enhance that. People will come to our city because of our schools. And it's so very important to understand this is for arts and life skill enhancement. There's no athletics involved in this at all. So I'm very proud of the fact that we were successful during this last referendum to pass that. It is a red letter day for our city. There's absolutely no doubt. Workforce development, very important. We have the opportunity, we're surrounded by the awesomes, the Airbuses, the marine industries, everything around us. We need to develop those skills for our kids, give them the opportunities to make a substantial living, give them the chances to do the things that they need to do to be successful in life. And I'm very proud that we're doing it. The crafts, the skills, the welding, those kind of things. That is absolutely wonderful, but it also takes it to the other side with robotics, those kind of things, enhancements for our teachers. Everything about this is a win. So I'm very proud of where we are at that 3 mills and proud of where we're going as a city because of it.
Thank you so much. We're going to, concludes our questions for the candidates this evening, but we are going to give you each an opportunity to do a 3-minute closing statement. We will do it in reverse alphabetical order. So in that instance, Mr. McMillan, you will start. Of course, then we'll go to Ms. Cornelia, and Mr. Batley, you will round it out for us this evening. So, Mr. McMillan.
All right, thank you very much. Because of the pending retirement of our long-term city clerk who has served the city so very well, it is now more important than ever that you elect a qualified, experienced candidate that knows how to accomplish the goals of our city. The mayor needs to know and understand our comprehensive plan, recognize the long-term objectives of the Causeway Master Plan, including more public access to our Delta. This mayor must be able to communicate with other elected officials in order to attack the biggest issue we have in our city, which is storm water management. I am that person. I have personally had met with 75% of the personnel on the Restore Council in order to secure the funding needed to attack this matter. It is such a big issue within our city that without outside funding, we cannot make it happen. I have the proven capabilities in the past 8 years. We have completed the community center that includes our first library, our first senior activities center, along with administrative offices for our fast growing city, all under budget. We have renovated the old Civitan Park, which is the park behind our elementary school, along with providing a new park that allows our children with the ability to play soccer in our city. In the past, they had to go to other cities to play soccer. It was something we needed to do. We refurbished our kids' park, so it now allows our families with loved ones that have disabilities the same opportunity of all the other children in our city. And I'm very proud of that one fact. In addition, we've secured funding for over 5 miles of sidewalk, including sidewalks on both sides of the soon-to-be completed Highway 31 project. That is scheduled to be completed the early part of next year, so I'm anxiously looking forward to that. This funding also includes decorative lighting along Highway 30, along with benches, so we can develop this important area of our city. This was accomplished because of relationship with statewide officials. This funding was given to us because of those relationships. We also learned, as I mentioned earlier, of an additional grant for $2.5 million to build a facility on the causeway, welcoming visitors to our city. But we have more to do. We must continue to push for a Bayway Bridge that does not allow for towing. As mentioned prior, we must have an individual in this chair to lead the important merger between the city and our volunteer fire department. Having served on this board, along with being involved with the city, puts me in a unique position to accomplish this goal. I have served our city and community. Sorry, thank you.
Thank you so much. Ms. Cornelius.
Yes, to the citizens of Spanish Fort, I would love the opportunity to work with you to get your input for the future of Spanish Fort and its growth. I will do work for making the Spanish Fort better than it's ever seen before. We have so many wonderful resources and attributes in the city that we need to highlight. And I would hope that you would give me the opportunity to bring Spanish Fort up to another level of community and closeness. Thank you for your support.
Thank you, Mr. Bradley.
It's been a wonderful evening, able to share time with you folks. Some of you, this is the first time you've seen or heard from me, and I'm a late bloomer. I spoke earlier about the community and the revelry of Spanish Fort as we came up. And then once we became incorporated, to keep our unique community intact and not be annexed by Daphne, we've gotten into a lot of ventures. And, well, a lot of people feel that I've spoken with community leaders as well as business people that, yes, we have fallen short in some respects. Therefore, I was promoting the multi-family housing by the Bay merely for one, it would be zoned as such. So there would be no more apartments built anywhere in the city. It would be a zone within itself. And when you have more people, it would attract more automobiles, of course. We can then build more gas stations in Spanish Fort and maybe even consider taking our gasoline tax away. That will bring not just volume, but a little more profitability to the oil industry folks. As far as things in the community, our amenities, we've always gotten by since the old days out at the Friend Corporation. We had the church league, we had the civic leagues, and of course the schools. And as we have increased and developed additional places such as tennis courts and soccer fields, I feel like we have kind of left the older part of Spanish Fort behind and not give a facelift, for lack of a better way of putting it. And a great idea over at the tennis courts in Spirit Park. We've got a couple of baseball fields that would make a great swimming pool that would bring in revenue because it acts as a pool as it is. It's unlevel. It has a great deal of water collection out on the field. And the collection is because it's just not
Thank you,
level.
Mr. Batley. Thank you so much. Thank you to all three of you for coming out this evening. Again, my name is Melinda Bird Murphy, and on behalf of the Governmental Affairs Committee here at the Eastern Shore Chamber of Commerce, and on behalf of our Executive Director, Casey Williams, I want to thank you all for participating in this forum tonight and giving the citizens of Spanish Fort an opportunity to hear from you in this environment, and to remind all of you out there listening that we do have a voter's guide available if you'd like to go and access that and sort of read a little bit more. Thank you for your time, and we appreciate it. And remember, our municipal elections are August the 25th.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.